National security analyst and former Chicago police officer Dimitri Roberts is in Washington. Dimitri, thanks for joining us. I want to get your reaction to this video because you've been an officer in Chicago. You've been involved in incidents in that city. When you watch that tape, what are you thinking?
It's very, very concerning and deeply disturbing. Having been an officer that patrols some of those same streets and having been involved in similar incidents of car chases and foot chases, it's clear that these officers operated outside of their training and went a little too far in how they approached this situation from the onset of it.
You mentioned they went outside of their training. The superintendent, Eddie Johnson, has said the very same thing. Unusual for the leader of a police department to say such a thing so soon after the incident. The officers involved, 3 of them, have been relieved of their duties already. What are the next steps from here?
Well, first, this is a very positive sign from the Chicago Police Department that they are taking a different approach than they have in the past, and releasing this video and being very transparent with the public as well as with the media as it relates to this incident. What you can expect moving forward is a lot of controversy and a lot of both sides saying that they were in the right or they were justified. I think what we can all agree to is that a young man is dead, he was unarmed, and this is a further unfortunate situation that is underscoring what's going on not just in our communities but in the nation.
Dimitri, you say that they're trying to be transparent, but for the skeptics here who are like, wait a minute, so the guy, the police officer who shot at him, suddenly his body camera was down? Explain to us how this works. This isn't like an iPhone that suddenly goes dead.
So I know that police equipment, especially in high-impact situations, is what we've seen, don't always hold up that well. So I wouldn't go so far as to say that there's a cover-up or there's a circumstance where police officers tamper with the equipment. What I will say is that given the procedures and given the training that these officers underwent, the same training that I took, this is clearly outside of what they should have been reacting to and how they should have been approaching this situation from the beginning.
But explain to us how these body cameras work. How do they turn off and on? And how is it that all the other body cameras worked, but suddenly the police officer involved in the shooting, his specific body camera just didn't function?
Well, I think that given the circumstance, again, I'm not very familiar with how body cameras work or the type of body camera that these officers are using. There are many that are on the market, but what I can say is that what we know is that we do have body cameras that work. We can see that officers that were responding, their equipment was functioning, and the further investigation will be very clear about what happened here.
It's a troubling development for the city of Chicago, which has faced high tension between residents and the police department. The body cameras were supposed to help fix that, to show exactly what goes on in these important moments. We have this failure. That's not going to help things. But what do you think the reaction is going to be from the community and the police department? How do you think these two sides are going to interact in the days ahead?
Well, it's going to be very controversial. Obviously, given that an equipment failure happened at this very critical moment, is going to call into question both the police policies as well as this officer's actions, given what we've seen so far. From the community perspective, I can understand that the community is going to be very hurt and very put off by what they see. This is once again another unfortunate situation where we have a member of the community, a young black man, dying at the hands of a police interaction, which unfortunately is not just happening in Chicago, but happening across our nation.
We saw there were protests. The police superintendent was supposed to come out. The superintendent was going to address the media and explain the situation and why they released these cameras. He couldn't do that because there were protests, and it was a black teenager, I believe, who was out there saying that talking to a police officer, you promised us there would be black officers on the street, but you send us Caucasian officers in minority areas. This has been a problem across the country. How do you think Chicago should deal with it, especially from your take on it, because you've worked there?
Well, what I can say is they have to continue to partner with organizations like Black Lives Matter, and they have to bring young men like we saw outside of the police headquarters in Chicago into the conversation and allow them to have a voice and a seat at the table, and sensible solutions be put forward. I've said on previous occasions that I believe there are a lot of cultural differences that have divided both the police as well as the community, and I think that this is another point where we can bring some unity behind these issues, but we have to allow first healing to happen, and we have to allow the right people to be at the table.
All right, Dimitri Roberts in Washington, we really appreciate it, sir. Important commentary there on your view that the officers involved in the Chicago shooting were working outside the bounds of their training, crossing lines they should not have crossed. And the superintendent there in Chicago, he appears to agree with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.